Hey there you guys, Next Gen Striker here, back again for another video, and today we get to talk about probably my most anticipated game of 2013, Injustice: Gods Among Us. Now I know some of you might be wondering, man, why do you love this game so much? And in case I haven't revealed it in a video earlier, which, I don't know, maybe I have, the reason is because I love fighting games, I love NetherRealm Studios, and I love DC Comics, and you know what, I love Ed Boon too, so that's a pretty good combination of things to love, and now you understand why I love it so much. And the game just looks really good, honestly. It just looks so much better than MK versus DC, and honestly, it could be better than Mortal Kombat 9, but, you know, who's to say? We'll have to wait and see how it holds up and all that stuff. But I know it's going to be a good game anyway, so, yeah. So, today the point of this video is for me to talk about my thoughts on who all the characters are going to be. It's 24 characters unless they are hiding slots, which they have done before. So it could be more than that, but at the very least it's going to be 24 characters, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts with not just opinions on who I want, but with actual facts from, you know, various sources. I actually found two people on YouTube who have helped me narrow this down. They're very insightful and they know what they're talking about. I'll link them down below. They're pretty cool. Check them out if you like Injustice. And because of them, I also discovered Ed Boon's Twitter account, which he does reveal a lot of important tips on characters. So yeah, and in case you're wondering, you know, well, what if Ed Boon just likes to tease around sometimes? Well, some of these little hints that he's given earlier were actually confirmed later on, like Green Arrow, Deathstroke, all that stuff. So it's pretty legitimate to think that his tweets have a purpose after all. And he also confirmed that there's going to be a reveal very soon, but he was waiting until after the holidays to do it. So yeah, we just have to wait until after that, and until then I just have to speculate. And there really haven't been a lot of Injustice videos around the webs, which kind of makes me sad. I mean, you know, it's dead. There's not really too much to talk about, so hey, here I am. So first, I'm briefly just going to tell all the characters who have already been confirmed. And there are 13, I believe. If I miss any, I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm a human, I make mistakes. And I have lists, so if you hear me clicking on the computer, then that's what I'm doing. So, the list of confirmed characters are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Solomon Grundy, Joker, which is voiced by the same guy from Mortal Kombat vs. DC, by the way, which is a pretty good voice. They couldn't get Mark Hamill, obviously, you know. Harley Quinn, Nightwing, Cyborg, Deathstroke, Green Arrow, and Catwoman. So yeah, Deathstroke being the most recent character they revealed. And yeah, I was pretty happy about him. And, you know, so far the gameplay looks really cool. So, based on what I've learned, you know, through all these various things and just my thoughts on who's most likely to get in, well, here we go. Here is my list. And see what you guys think about it. Okay, so first we've got Aquaman and/or Hawkgirl. Now, in a tweet by Ed Boon, he said that it's likely that one or maybe both of these could make it into the game. And he hates Hawkman, so Hawkman not going to be in the game. Aquaman he has hinted at multiple times, so I'm pretty sure Aquaman is going to be in it. To be honest, I'm not the biggest Aquaman fan in the world. You know, I don't hate him. I do occasionally make fun of him because it's kind of fun to do. But hey, you know, I make fun of a lot of things. I even make fun of Batman every now and then with my roommate because it's just kind of, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of fun to poke around with things that we like. So that's just the way of the world. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Aquaman fan in the world. My favorite version of him that I've seen so far is actually the Justice League version, the cartoon. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. So, him and Hawkgirl. Honestly, I think that they're both pretty likely candidates. I mean, think about how big they are in the DC Universe and the Justice League, etc., etc. They're popular. People want them. It's only natural, you know. And then we have Martian Manhunter, who, why wouldn't he be in this game? First off, he's one of the founding members of the Justice League, which actually Aquaman is too, but in some versions he's not. You know, so, and some people have problems with him, so that's why he's a little bit iffy, but not too much. Manhunter, on the other hand, he should be in the game, honestly, you know. I mean, he's just so important, and not to mention that his logo is on the limited edition box art thing, so to say that he's not going to be in it is just ridiculous. He's going to be in it, guys. I mean, come on. They wouldn't put his logo on the box for nothing. Okay, next we have these several, actually, I am pretty positive on. Captain Marvel, or Shazam, whatever you want to call him. The reason I think he's going to be in this game, there hasn't been, as far as I know, there hasn't been really any proof for him. But if you look at their roster choices in the past, most of them have been from MK versus DC, and why not reuse those same characters? Because honestly, most of them, if not all of them, were pretty good characters, and Lex Luthor has pretty much already been confirmed in a trailer, so, you know, if they're going to pick the least likely of those to return, they're going to pick Captain Marvel and, of course, Darkseid, which is a huge villain, so to have him in it would also be really cool. So, yeah. Even though he is sort of like Superman, it's still, I mean, you know, they can always make him different. Let's just hope they do, in fact, make him different and not just an overpowered Superman again. Next, we have Captain Cold. Now, Captain Cold, the reason I feel that he's going to be in this game is because if you watch the trailer, one of the first trailers, the really slow-mo, really high-resolution sort of trailers, you see Flash getting hit with ice. Now, you know, some people might think, oh, well, that must be Mr. Freeze. It could be Mr. Freeze, but why would he be fighting the Flash? You know, all the other people that were fighting it, except for Wonder Woman, she was fighting Harley Quinn. But, you know, the Flash, it would only make sense to be fighting his own villain. And why not have a Flash villain, you know? So, the Flash, not a bad choice, you know, for Captain Cold. He needs a villain. I think a lot of these characters need villains, and quite frankly, the game in general just needs more villains because it's overpowered with heroes right now. So, although Mortal Kombat also pulls that off, where it doesn't have too many villains, it has some characters that sway back and forth, and then, you know, it has this sort of thing. And yes, I did forget to mention this, so I'll mention this now. The story, which, in case you guys don't know, is rumored to be the Justice League versus Batman, or at least we have seen the Batman fighting some of the Justice League. So we know there's going to be some conflicts there. Now, it doesn't mean that the entire Justice League is going to be against Batman. Obviously, some of them are going to side with him. And, you know, we're also going to have Nightwing, of course, side with him. And who knows who else, honestly. And the villains, I don't know where they're going to come into this. There's obviously some sort of mind control. You know, if Batman's fighting Superman, who is his best friend, that's just crazy. So we don't know too much on the plot. But a lot of these characters have to tie into the plot somehow. You know, and some of them can be DLC later, obviously. Obviously, you know, not every one of these characters I mentioned are going to be in the game because I'm listing more than the 24. So, we never know. And DLC is going to happen because, you know, Ed Boon likes DLC, hard work DLC, of course. You know, he did that with Mortal Kombat 9. He'll do it with this game. So, yeah, it's very likely to happen. Anyway, getting back to the point here, next we have Animal Man, Batwing, and Swamp Thing. Now, these three were all hinted at, again, on his Twitter, and they were all listed together. You know, he was like, you know, which one of these three do you think could be in it, or something like that. So, me personally, if I had to pick one, I guess it would be the Swamp Thing. Batwing, we don't really need a less known Batman character. We need more. If we're gonna have another Batman character, we need a more popular one, honestly. Not a more obscure one, because that would just be, it's just another Batman character that's kind of wasted, you know. Not to say that Batwing's probably not cool, but you know, it's just, I don't think it's gonna happen. And really, having more than we already have of Batman characters is kind of unlikely to begin with. So we've got that. Swamp Thing is a very demanded character. That's why I think him. Animal Man, I don't really know anything about him, but I don't know. I'm sure the demand is there somewhere. So my bets are on Swamp Thing. Next we have Sinestro and Atrocitus, I believe is his name. I might be pronouncing that wrong, sorry. These two were also hinted at, and they're both Green Lantern villains, which is great. Now, obviously, I believe that Sinestro is going to make it in, but we really don't know, and we'll never know until the game releases. So, yeah, we don't. Either one of those would be cool, though. So, who knows? Maybe we'll get both. Now, next we have Bane. Bane was hinted at, of course, on his Twitter once again. Most of these were hinted at on Twitter. I'll tell you when they're not, I guess. But anyway, so Bane, I mean, he's a really popular guy. You've got The Dark Knight Rises, which made him even more popular in the mainstream. The comics made him popular. The animated series, however you want to say it, they made him popular. And he's just a really awesome character. He would be a power character, which, by the way, this game needs more of. You know, we need to evenly balance it out, although it's not really sure. They haven't really defined what a power and a gadget is character, you know. they're splitting the roster that way, but we don't exactly know who was who. I mean, I think the Flash is considered a power character. I'm not really sure, but anyway. So I think Bane would be a good choice. He would be a good villain, and I know it's another Batman character, but the fact that he was hinted at, I have to mention it. So he's possible. He could very well fit in with the story too. Next, we have Power Girl, Supergirl, and Batgirl. Now, these three were all hinted at together, and he said one of these three will be in it. Which do you guys want? Now, the biggest demand was for Power Girl, which, sure, why not? Me personally, I'd be rooting for Batgirl, but, whatever. You know, it's another new character, not that big of a deal. And this was also, yeah, Power Girl was the most demanded character, so it's very likely that she'll make it in. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but if not, she could always be a DLC character if people really want her. Next, we have Blue Beetle, which isn't really one that they've hinted at, I believe, but I just think he's a really cool character. I don't know, maybe you guys can agree or disagree with me, but he's a pretty, he's just a pretty big character. He's pretty popular, so I don't see why not. And I think he would add a lot of unique things to the game. So, yay for Blue Beetle. I think he's a really cool character. At least the one in Young Justice. He's really the only one I'm super familiar with because I watch that show religiously, as you guys know. It's really good. Okay, so next we have Superboy and Doomsday. These were both hinted at, although I don't think either one of them are really likely. I'm thinking Doomsday is more likely. Actually, you know what? I don't think these two were hinted at by Ed Boon. I think someone asked him about these characters, now that I think about it. And Superboy's chance is very low, but Doomsday has a bigger chance. So Superboy, he's out pretty much. But, maybe. I think, really any character, even if they are quote-unquote clone, could still be technically different with all the combos and stuff, but it would still feel like kind of a wasted slot. You guys know what I mean? Doomsday, he would be a really good villain. He'd be a really big power character, and he would just be cool. And he's already in the background of the Fortress of Solitude stage, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Next, we have basically all the Batman characters, Robin, Batgirl, and Red Hood. Now, the reason Batgirl already said, Red Hood, the reason is because he's a highly demanded and popular character, and I think that the rivalry between, sorry, I mispronounced that word, but anyway, the feud, I guess I should say, between him and Nightwing would be really interesting, and then him and Batman, him and Joker, I think he would be a character that would flip a lot, so he would be interesting. And the reason I say Robin is because he's another one of those characters whose logo was on the limited edition. Now, this could have stood for Nightwing, but remember the Nightwing also has his own logo, so it's a little bit unclear. If it's going to be a Robin, I would assume that it would be Damian Wayne Robin, because Nightwing has the Akin Mystics and a bow staff. So Tim Drake, as much as I love him as Robin, it's very unlikely because that's what he's known to be fighting with. And obviously it's not going to be Jason Todd because that would just be weird. He's better as Red Hood, honestly. And yeah, I think those are pretty much all the characters that he's hinted at. Now here are just some more that I would personally like to see in the game. Between these two, well, not just me wanting to see them, I guess I should say, but I think could be in it, So, Dr. Fate or Zatanna. Now, they're both mystical characters, which I think would really add to that sort of diversity, And it's I don't know, it's hard to pick between these two. Me personally, I would go for Dr. Fate because he's just awesome. Not that I don't like Zatanna, and not trying to find a skimpy outfit of her on the interwebs to show is very difficult, by the way. But yeah, Zatanna, she would be a female character first off, which the game doesn't have too many. They do like to throw in a bunch of female characters into the Mortal Kombat-esque fighting games, So it's likely, but I don't know. It's a toss-up between those two, honestly. Now, the next one I'm going to bring up is Metallo. Now, the reason I think Metallo would be interesting is because, one, he'd be a power character. Two, he's a Superman villain. He's pretty powerful, and I don't know, I just think he's cool. I don't know how big his chances are of getting in, but you guys know how that is. So, yeah, anyway, down to my final few. We have Black Manta, which personally I think he is a really cool villain. You know, I don't think he gets enough treatment. I remember, I think the first encounter I had with him was from the Super Friends cartoon. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like really over the top camp. You know, it was back in the Adam West days, sort of that kind of thing. But he was in that. He was, I think, a big villain. And now he's back with, I don't think he was in the Justice League cartoon. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that he is in Young Justice and he plays a pretty significant role, and he's awesome. And I just think that he would be a really good character. You know, it's him and Aquaman can fight on the land. I know it doesn't seem like that. It's not really portrayed very well in any sort of, I guess, animation or media sort of thing. Too much. You know, he's mostly known for his water powers, him and Black Manta. But they can fight on the land. They have the Trident, I think is what it's called. It's, you know, the big electrical staff thing, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I think he would be a really cool character and definitely an awesome addition. And then we have Black Canary, which is the, correct me if I'm wrong, but the wife of Green Arrow, or the girlfriend, love interest, whatever you want to call her. I guess it just depends on what time period you're reading it in, you know, like what time in the comics, whatever. Anyway, I think that she would be, one, another female character, which is always a plus, and two, I mean, she's just awesome. You know, she's really good at martial arts. She's got that deafening scream, and the family relation to Green Arrow is I think she's got a fairly good chance, needless to say, and I just think that she would, again, bring a lot of variety, which is always good for a fighting game to have a lot of different characters that feel differently, so you have a lot to play with, you know? And yeah, I think she would be really cool. Now, these two, I think, won't make the actual cut, but I think that they're possible for DLC. The first one being Lobo. Now, Lobo, a lot of people want Lobo. Needless to say, Lobo, he's a popular character. He's an intergalactic bounty hunter. He's been in several cartoons and several different things. I'm just referring to cartoons because that's my main source of education on these things. You know, I don't go and read comics, unfortunately. I'd love to, but, you know, life doesn't work that way. We don't get what we always want. Anyway, but yeah, Lobo, he seems like a really cool character. I don't know too much on him, honestly. But yeah, he just seems like a really strong powerhouse character. And if a lot of people like him, then why not? I'm sure I would love him too. And the other one is, of course, a personal favorite of mine, Static Shock. Now, Static, I love him, and a lot of people do, and a lot of people want him. Unfortunately, there are just so many other characters on the list and only so many slots. And Static Shock, as much as I love him, he's not as important as some of these other characters. So I think it's possible, and I'm hoping that he's going to be a DLC character. If he makes the actual roster, I will be very surprised. But I won't be mad about that. I like Static. He's really cool. I mean, come on, he rides on a saucer. He would be so cool to have combos with and stuff, you know? I just think that'd be really cool. Now, some other characters people were talking about. The other Teen Titans, basically. Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy. Well, you know, the ones from the cartoon anyway. And I think it's somewhat possible for those characters. Beast Boy, no. The reason being, Martian Manhunter, they have pretty much the same shape-shifting powers, so it would be a little bit, you know, redundant. Raven and Starfire, I see them both having a little bit of variety, and I think they would both be cool characters. I just don't think that they'll make it because they're just not really important enough. That's just the way it is, you know, but I don't know. DLC, anything's really possible. And I don't think there's really any other characters I can think of. I'm sure you guys can think of some because there are so many DC characters. It is crazy. Crazy up in here. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the main thing I wanted to talk about. You guys know I love the gameplay of this. I cannot wait to play this game. I think it's going to be so awesome. I know it's going to be awesome, and I love fighting games, so I'm just going to love this game. And turns out, if the rumors are true for the release date, it looks like it's going to release about the time my spring semester ends in college, so I'll be able to play that a lot, which is going to be awesome. So yeah, that's it did take a while to put this video together simply because there's so many characters I had to talk about, and sorry it was so long if this bored you. I believe this is maybe one of my longest videos, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could talk about Injustice more and give you guys weekly or daily updates or whenever it comes out, unfortunately. Facebook is my only means to do so because I can't upload all the time with being in college. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. So, yeah. Anyway, tell me below what your thoughts are, what characters you want, etc., etc. And if you liked, like it. If you or if you really liked me, you can sub me. Sorry, shameless plug. And yeah, like my Facebook if you want to talk to me more, and I can fangasm over other releases or stuff like that. And I will catch you guys later.